Welcome back to Mock the Mock, where we take a look at someone else's mock draft. And I'm mocking, giving you my views, thoughts, and opinions. Got a good one today as we got PFF's own Trevor Sikkema, also of the NFL Stock Exchange podcast. So if you're not familiar with him, go check him out. He does great work. But what's cracking? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Let's go ahead, get into this sucker. As I'm going to scroll down this part because it's got spoilers. And okay, Houston Texans take Bryce Young, so I assume this is going to be either there's this one trade or this is going to have a few trades in it. Either way, I'm excited. So they move up, they get Bryce Young. I think it's safe to say if the Bears do trade the first overall pick, the Colts and the Texans are probably the front runners in the betting market. For one, you're probably, why would the Texans move up one spot just to get a quarterback? And it's like, well, because the chances of another team moving up to one to take the quarterback that they want, Bryce Young, I think seemingly is the top quarterback prospect in this class. So they move up and grab him. Let's see, Houston gets the first overall pick. Chicago gets a first, a second, and a fourth to move up to one, man. Oh, I feel like Colts can outdo that, but I don't know. We'll see, but yeah, no. I think this is a great move for the Texans. Go ahead, get your franchise quarterback. Even better, man. If you don't have to sacrifice that 12th overall pick to do so, that is great. You're only just giving a very high, high second round pick, and then a fourth. You still maintain a third, so that's solid. I think that's good value. We keep moving, see what goes on in the next little bit here. Oh, that's a spoiler, but it is what it is. Jalen Carter going in number 2 to the Bears. So Bears moved to 2, and this is another thing that's a bit more seductive, that the Bears can move to number 2, and they will get the choice of Jalen Carter and Will Anderson, opposed to if they move to 4, and the Cardinals remain at 3, they will get whoever the Cardinals do not take. So depending on how far I guess you would say Will Anderson or Jalen Carter is on their draft board, who they fancy more. Basically, would you rather have maybe the extra draft capital you would get from the Colts, and you're okay with whoever falls to you, or are you more content with less draft capital and you get the guy that you want? I think Jalen Carter actually is. Matt Eberflus would love this. And then the Arizona Cardinals will remain at 3, take Will Anderson. And yeah, I mean, basically you're just taking the next best non-quarterback prospect on the board. Again, 1A, 1B, I think, when it comes to Jalen Carter and Will Anderson. So Cardinals do that. Then we're going to move on to the Indianapolis Colts. They go Will Levis. Now let's actually read this sucker. All right, so there's no telling what the Colts could do in this draft. You'll read plenty of scenarios of them selling the farm to get to number 1 and draft a quarterback, and that is certainly plausible. But will Chicago want to move that far down with a lesser move, or when a lesser move is available? In this scenario, let's say they don't and Indianapolis stays put. I still think they get a young quarterback to invest in, whether that is QB2 or QB3 in this class. That debate will likely come down to Will Levis and CJ Stroud, which, yeah, it's totally plausible. I kind of see it as like Stroud. It's got a much safer floor. At least you feel better about what he is going to be as an NFL quarterback, opposed to Will Levis, which has he might have the better potential upside when it comes to like his arm and his build, his running ability. You might feel better about that, but I mean, again, this is a guy that really forced the ball a ton. You didn't see a lot of big time plays from him this past year, for a guy that has this amazing arm talent. So I don't know, man. I do feel that Will Levis might be the Colts guy. I think this would be a Irsay Ballard type of quarterback opposed to Stroud. Let's see where Stroud falls to, though, because we got the Seattle Seahawks next on the board. Blah, 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 blah. Tyree Wilson going to the Seahawks. That makes sense to me. I think they don't really have a high-end pass rusher. They have a few good ones in Owusu and Darrell Taylor and Boye Mafi. There we go. But like Tyree Wilson has a very versatile build. He's got an insane wingspan. He's going to be a 3-down guy they keep on the field on running downs. Just needs to be more polished. As a pass rusher, he's going to be one widely talked about in the Seattle spot. I kind of lean Myles Murphy, but that's just my preference. All right, on to the Detroit Lions taking Devon Witherspoon. I just did this in my mock draft yesterday. By the way, this is my first time seeing this mock, so I didn't pull anything from here. Devon Witherspoon. I actually played with this idea because, again, for me, it's like Christian Gonzalez, Devon Witherspoon. Witherspoon was obviously more productive. I think he pulled out of the Senior Bowl because he had a very favorable projection from the NFL, I guess, projection committee. I don't know what the hell to call him. But, getting that guy opposite of Jeffrey Okudah. I know some people want to be like, forget Okudah, just get him out of there. It's like, no, dude, this is the dude you invested highly on. He's still got a ton of talent. So pair him up with a guy like Witherspoon, man. And I think Witherspoon's actually a really good fit for Aaron Glenn's scheme. So we have Peter Skoronski going to Vegas. I went with quarterback in my mock draft, which you can check out. It's on the channel. I just did it yesterday. But we know they're moving on from Derek Carr. We know them and Derek Carr are going their separate ways, and I think the Raiders might, like, especially with how hot allegedly the hot seat was for Josh McDaniels, that it might seem easy to pull the trigger here on a CJ Stroud or even a Will Levis if it's Stroud that goes ahead of him. I mean, obviously this enables the Carolina Panthers to take quarterback with their next pick, which they will, but let's see. Let's read up on this. Now, with all the pressure on both head coach and GM, I can't imagine that they have the ability to draft a QB3 and QB4. But, I mean, that means... what are they going to go for, though? What are they going to go for in free agency? That's the thing. Because, I mean... I know we played this game with Nathaniel Hackett last year and we thought Aaron Rodgers was going to the Broncos. But, I mean, it seems like there's a chance Aaron Rodgers goes to the Jets. Tom Brady, I think Tom Brady actually has a good shot at going to the Jets as well. I think they have a good chance of landing either or. Does Tom Brady then go to the Raiders? Link back up with Josh McDaniels? That, honestly, that would be great, but then you would have to protect him, which would kind of like, okay, yes, this pick makes sense. Peter Skoronski, a very versatile offensive lineman. You could really line up at any of the 5 spots. I think that, okay, there is a path. There is a path. I don't know if they'll be able to get that done. But the question is, where does Tom Brady go? Man, free agency is going to be freaking wild. Like, it's not like the best free agent class, but it's going to be wild. So, that's right. Atlanta Falcons got the next pick, and they're taking Brian Branch. Interesting. So, yes, he's a bit of a hybrid player, but I think ideally you want to play him in the slot early on, though I think he does have the ability to play a variety of different roles, maybe even outside corner at times. Like, I think he could be that versatile. I'm in love with Brian Branch, but I still think the pass rush is kind of the Achilles heel. I think the secondary is actually better than most people think for the Atlanta Falcons. They had a lot of guys that stepped up and did a good job. So maybe and he's listed here as a corner / safety. So it's like, I'm not opposed to it. I really do love Brian Branch. Maybe Myles Murphy's not their cup of tea, or we've seen Lucas Van Ness high in these mock drafts recently. So maybe. There goes CJ Stroud to the Panthers. Don't need to talk much about this because, of course, they're going with a quarterback. Ideally, there is a quarterback on the board. I think they're probably going to have to move up really to get their guy, unless they want to take a guy like Anthony Richardson, who you probably won't play year one. So this is like best case scenario for the Panthers, but I really do think they probably have to make a move up a couple of spots. All right, so next should be the Philadelphia Eagles, I believe, with Christian Gonzalez. Yeah, I did this as well. I think it just makes too much sense that best case scenario, you're going to be picking whoever your top corner is in the draft, or you will be taking whoever Detroit doesn't take. I really think that's gonna how it falls, how the cookie will crumble. James Bradbury is a free agent. Darius Slays, I think, it'll be 32 next this offseason. Not sure when his birthday is. Happy birthday, by the way, whenever it is, Mr. Slay. But so grabbing more cornerback depth is definitely ideal, and Gonzalez would be a good pick here. Broderick Jones going to the Tennessee Titans. Wow, he's over Paris Campbell. This one I find very interesting. Jones still raw as a prospect, but again, the dude's length, yeah, which I imagine Trevor talks about here. Can I call you Trevor? Mr. Sycamore? Tampa Trey? Jones, he's got the size. He's got the build, the length, the athleticism. Like, and honestly, for a guy that is a very good run blocker, coming from that Georgia running defense or running freaking offense, then this also makes sense. I think Paris Johnson, though, man, I really think he's going to end up being like the first tackle taken overall. We saw Quentin Johnston did go to the Houston Texans, so they not only get their quarterback, but they get a receiver to pair him up with. I like that. I'm cool with it. I think it is okay. All right. On to New York Jets. They get Paris Johnson. I like this as well. I like the idea of the Jets going with an offensive alignment because we don't know what will happen with Mekhi Becton. That's great. Elijah Vera Tucker can play tackle. Maybe you want to move him back to guard because maybe you don't bring back like Nate Herbig, or maybe Lincoln Tomlinson just ends up sucking again. Honestly, my favorite guy to drop in the spot is Peter Skoronski, just because Connor McGovern's a free agent, so it's like, oh man, it'd be nice to have a guy that can play all 5 spots. So it's like, I think having another offensive lineman, drafting an offensive lineman would just be super ideal for the New York Jets. He said I pondered Aaron Rodgers trade here, which that's fair, man. That's fair. Maybe we get it this year. All right, so we got the New England Patriots going Jordan Addison, so they get a guy that can separate or stretch the field both vertically and horizontally. They don't really have that. They need more playmakers, quite frankly, at receiver. Green Bay Packers go with Myles Murphy. Man, that's wild that he falls down here. Chances are you'll read this mock with Myles Murphy in the top 10 and maybe even the top 5. With the way this defensive class is set up, there's a possibility of this happening. I mean, hey, good players fall in the draft all the time, so it is what it is. But man, can you imagine kind of like using him as Zadarius Smith role, where you can play him on the line, you could play him there like out wide. He does bring a lot of versatility like that. So like I don't mind this too much, especially with you got Rashawn Gary. You're gonna have to pay him as well because he's going into year 4, I believe. So there is gonna be that you're gonna have to pay him. But I think they have Kingsley Enagbare, I think he's a very good rotation option. So just increasing the pass rush. You got good corners. Like, the defense is looking really good here. Can you imagine if they do trade and get Packers do trade Aaron Rodgers and ended up getting the 13th pick as well? Whew. It's not a bad thought. All right, so watch Commanders going with Anthony Richardson, which breaks my heart because I love Sam Howell, but I understand that you want to kind of roll the dice on this lottery ticket, a guy with just so tremendous upside that you kind of A-okay with this. Remember, Ron Rivera was the guy who had Cam Newton. I almost said Cam Smith. Different Cams. But had Cam Newton, so like he's familiar with at least working with a quarterback that has a very mobile skill set, so to speak. So like, hey, shoot, maybe you're like, you know what, we're gonna sit Anthony Richardson year 1. we're going to be like, you know what, Sam? Go out there and play for your life. Play exceptionally well. Then, hey, worst case scenario, we got 2 potentially good quarterbacks on the roster, which, fun fact, when you draft quarterback, their depreciation, when it comes to their value, it's very minimal. You can trade those guys and still make good dough in the process. A la Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, and such. You could shoot freaking Carson Wentz. Like, you could then maybe pitch a Sam Howell, or maybe if you're that happy with Sam Howell, even Anthony Richardson at that point. So it's like, I don't think this is a bad pick. All right. Pittsburgh Steelers, Darnell Wright. Ooh, this is the highest I've seen him. Kind of a Steeler, though. Big boy out there blocking. Probably better than what they have in Dan Moore and Okafor. I'm not really big fans of either, and I think both should be upgraded. Darnell Wright's kind of that. He feels a bit rich here, but it is what it is. I get that probably Anton Harrison might not be a perfect fit here for the Steelers. The Steelers, is Matt Canada still there? Still there is OC. Whew. My apologies, Steelers fans. All right, Kalijah Cansey's going here. Everyone's crapping on Bryce Young, or Brian Brazee. I said Bryce Young. Brian Brazee. Everyone's crapping on him. Dang, dude, that's wild. Okay, in this defensive class, that feels like on impact players after Jalen Carter, Kalijah Cansey. Sure, made his case to be the second one selected this coming April. Though he's undersized, is 6'1", 280. That's very undersized. He is an absolute menace on the tier. And see, that's going to be the thing, because people will be like, I think some people will be like, why not Toi Peloto? Well, where did Toi Peloto do a lot of his damage? As an edge rusher. Kalijah Cansey was winning from the B gap at that size. So, two vastly different. You have a guy that's kind of like making the jump to try to be at least a primarily like this 3-tech B gap option, opposed to Cansey, who lived it his college career. So, man, this isn't the highest ever since Mel Kiper, took him top 10, but 18. Ooh, I took him 31 yesterday. I don't know if I'm gonna be there yet. I think I really might wait till the combine, see his tested numbers. I'm a coward. I know it. Cyrus Torrence going to the Bucks. I prefer corner here. In all honesty. He even mentions it. Okay, hold up. So they have a handful of important unrestricted free agents in Levante David, Jameel Dean, Sean Murphy-Bunting. But even with those departures on the horizon, trench play remains the biggest area of need. Yes, but I feel like you could do that with a vet. I prefer to go with a corner, especially with like a Joey Porter still on the board here. Grab him. Keely Ringo actually would make sense because he kind of has a similar path as Jameel Dean, who was selected I think it was second round back when he was drafted in what was that, 2019, 2018? But similar path in terms of me big corner, me run fast. So that could be another. I really like going corner here personally. So 20 is the Seattle Seahawks. Let's check it out. Joey Porter, actually, he goes with the next pick. Fun fact. I do like them getting another corner next to Tyreek Woolen. They've kind of had a revolving door of players there. Like Michael Jackson did all right, but I think I probably like him better as a depth option. I really, really like the idea of just continuing to solidify the corner position there for the Seahawks for years to come. So Joey Porter would be a fabulous pick. You come out with Tyree Wilson. So pretty solid. By the way, Dolphins forfeited their first round pick because we're sneaky. Not good at being sneaky either. Zay Flowers going to the Chargers. Okay, but this makes sense with Jordan Addison off the board. You want to find that field stretcher. Everyone's going to crap on Justin Herbert or not Justin Herbert, but Joe Lombardi for, hey, Justin Herbert, he had the second most passing yards in the league. He also had an average depth of target under 7 yards. It was pretty god awful. It sure was. So grabbing that separator is ideal because like Mike Williams, it's like, oh, he's a downfield threat. Yeah, he's like jump ball guy though. You want a guy that actually can get that consistency, or at least separation consistently. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like the idea of Josh Palmer eventually usurping like a Keenan Allen. Because like when Keenan Allen was hurt, I thought Palmer looked exceptionally well in that role. So you keep getting weapons for Herbert. I like that. I don't mind it. Curious where Bijan goes here, because we got Baltimore up next. I think it's plausible that Baltimore goes with. No, never mind. Okay, I was gonna say it's plausible that that Baltimore goes with Bijan, but they get Deonte Banks. Listen, I have pumped up Deonte Banks to like a top 75 guy for me. There was just too many cases like for me in his tape where like he just quit on the play. Like if he'd assume the ball's not coming his way, or he's not in a position to make a play. He would reel back on the reins, and I just don't like that. I like high effort guys, and it just didn't feel like Banks was consistently a high effort guy. I'm not too bothered by how physical he is as a defender, because like I think it's easier for someone who is overtly physical to rein that back rather than having to teach someone who just naturally isn't a very physical player. Try to put that in them. If they just don't have that dog in them, they just don't have that dog in them, So like I'm not worried about the penalties with Deonte Banks, but he is a good athlete, and good chance I'm probably sleeping on him. He's probably going to test out well, which probably move up more for me. It's just kind of the case of things. This is a surprise for him, is Siaki Ika going to the Minnesota Vikings. Corner could certainly be an option here for the Vikings, who just need to get better on defense in every facet. But with some big investments in the secondary last draft, perhaps they let those picks pan out. Ooh. Ooh. I mean, we also don't know who's coming in as DC, so exactly what the defense will look like. But Siaki Ika, just the production wasn't there from him. And I really wish he was going to stick at the Senior Bowl. But again, I imagine that was probably because his projection was pretty good. All right. Michael Mayer, this is an easy pick for the Jags. He's probably a top 20 player that's falling here. Evan Ingram, even if he gets re-signed, I like Michael Mayer as a selection here. He's a much better blocker than Ingram is. So I like that pick. We are on to 26, who happens to be the New York Giants. They get Jackson Smith and Jigba. Only reason I don't like this pick is question for me, because Wandale really was utilized in the slot when he came back healthy and then unfortunately got hurt again. I get getting more weapons, but Wandale, unless you're moving, I guess, Wandale to the outside, which is totally possible. I think Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to be a guy that plays like 60-65% of the time in the slot. So that's my pause on him, so to speak. On the Giants, there's not really a great pick here, but like corner, linebacker, I'd probably go take a swing on corner, in all honesty, with that just being a more valuable position. But it's kind of rough. All right, let's keep the sucker rolling with the Dallas Cowboys. Clark Phillips. All right, undersized is right. I do like him. Actually, I like him a lot for this defense for the Cowboys. I like him for Dan Quinn's defense. I'm just curious, will he get the Asante Samuel Jr. treatment, where it's like he's just viewed as a slot and then ends up going like early to mid second rounds? Like that's just what I think will happen with Clark Phillips. Really do. Big fan of Clark Phillips though. Did very well this season. Bijan Robinson going to the Bills. Devin Singletary is a free agent. Can you imagine just a sick pairing of Bijan and Clark? Is it James Cook? I said Clark. James Cook. There we go. That would be a sick pairing. You need to get some of that pressure off Josh Allen, and you can do that via the run game. Also, they need to invest in that offensive line. That offensive line was dog water this year. Ain't that right, Gojo? Yes, that's right. All right. We got Cincinnati Bengals going with Darnell Washington. Yeah, he's unique. I don't know, man. I don't know for this pick. Like, I don't know how he'll fit in for the Bengals here. Like, is he that guy? Like, this is the thing, man. If you're going to use a first-round pick on Darnell Washington, not only do you have to have a role planned out for him, but that role better be something substantial to warrant a first-round selection. And I get that he brings a lot of versatility with his size and ability as a blocker. I just don't think he's that dynamic of an athlete. Didn't say he wasn't a fast athlete for his size. I said he wasn't a dynamic athlete. Then again, he's got some sick hurdles, but all right. Trenton Simpson going to the Broncos. He says offensive line could be an important need for the Broncos to address the back end of the first round, but with most of the potential first round offensive linemen already off the board in this mock, they go with talent over need, which, hey, I'm okay with that, but I think I'd still take a swing at Anton Harrison, but big fan of that cat. And they grab Simpson there to help out at linebacker, though. I feel like linebacker's kind of all right, but again, this is kind of a best player on the board scenario for Trevor, so I'm not against it. Brian Brazee falling all the way to 31 is just absolutely phenomenal. However, an injury history that kept him off the field for most of the last 2 seasons. Okay, I get that. Okay, I get it. He's underdeveloped. It's a thing. It's whatever. So he might need more polish. He's going to test out well. He's going to measure out well. I feel like I need to look more into, like, was there more to this kidney infection than what I saw? What I read up and looked up? Because he had the ACL, but he missed time this year because of a kidney infection. And then he had death in a family. Is there more to the kidney infection that I'm not knowing? Let me know in the comment section below. Lucas Van Ness going to the Eagles with the final pick here. So think of that pass rusher. I think ideally, yeah, Lucas Van Ness being here is kind of nice. If you saw my mock draft, you saw he kind of fell. And I was at the Broncos. At that point, I was like, oh, best player on the board, which I can't criticize going best player on the board. But this would be ideal for the Eagles, be able to address the trenches, add some more pass rush. Because they got Graham there still, which is fine, but he is getting up there in years. Sweat's coming off injury. They got Reddick, but he's not. It's not like a guy that he consistently. He's not going to light up just out like on the outside shoulder of a tackle consistently. They're going to have that guy attack wide, and. So, Lucas Van Ness, honestly, I think is a solid selection here. Like, overall, I'm cool with this mock draft. I think it's relatively solid. I mean, there's a few picks I question. I'm not going to... I think in all, like, the Jackson Smith and Jigba pick, for me, is a bit of a question mark in terms of just, like, I guess what I project Jackson Smith and Jigba to be and what they did with Wandale this past season. Siaki Ika, I think he's probably a better early day 2 guy than a back end first round. Overall, though, I thought it was pretty solid. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. As always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.